When I was 18, I made a promise to myself that one day I'll actually understand how money works. And once I do, I'm going to be the mentor I wish I had and teach everyone else around me. Well, I'm 25 now and my portfolio is nearing almost $600,000. So today, I'm going to show you every single ETF that I own, the exact percentages, why I bought each one, and how you can build the same exact portfolio with whatever that you have. Now, here's some quick context before I show you my portfolio because I think this really matters. When I first started investing, I had pretty much a couple $100s to my name. My parents never really taught me about investing or really anything about, personal finance or about money. It was kind of a taboo topic. So I had to teach everything myself. And I didn't really get into, investing, or I didn't really take anything too seriously until I was 18 and tried to start my own side hustles and businesses. I'm not going to go too in depth with all of the different income streams that I was trying to start, back in the day. I made a whole entire video talking about my journey and all the income streams that I have right now. So if you're interested, I'll link it down below. And here's a quick little disclaimer. This is, again, my personal portfolio. This is not financial advice. YouTube, please do not take this down. Past performance does not guarantee future performance. You have to do your own due diligence. YouTube, please don't take this down. All right, let's get into it. Now, when I first started investing, I thought the whole entire game was about picking the right stocks at the right time. So I did what pretty much all beginners do and invested only into individual stocks and try to day trade options. Long story short, that didn't work out. I didn't make a lot of money. In fact, I probably lost a couple inches of my hairline and maybe a few years of my life trying to do all that. It was super stressful, not worth it. And it wasn't until I learned about Warren Buffett's big bet against hedge funds that I decided to change my entire strategy. And one day he decided to place a bet against hedge funds, people who trade and invest professionally 24/7. And he bet that he could get a better investment return just by investing into low-cost index funds and ETFs while they actively invest into individual stocks. He wasn't trying to time the markets, find all the best stocks or undervalued companies. All he was doing was shoving his money into an ETF that automatically spread his money around hundreds of different companies. And years later, not only did he make more money than the hedge funds, he probably put a tenth of the effort in to make, 10 times the results. And that's pretty much why the majority of my portfolio is into index funds and ETFs. Because all I want to do is to just make the money that I worked hard for work hard for me. All right, let me walk you through every position, specifically starting with my ETFs. I'll give you the ticker symbol, the percentage on my portfolio it is, what it actually holds, why I personally own it, and what it returned for me ever since I have it. All right, the first ETF I want to show you is VOO, which is Vanguard's S&P 500 index fund. This basically tracks the top 500 largest companies in the US stock market. I'm talking about Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Tesla. Did I already say that? Pretty much all of them into one fund. So you put $100 into VOO, you spread your money across, 500 different companies. This is pretty much 12% of my entire portfolio, which is a lot. This was one of the first things that I've ever invested in when I first started. The really cool thing is it's a self-correcting mechanism, meaning if, let's just say, Apple randomly starts to go off the rails, their CEO goes crazy, they start losing money. Once it kind of falls off, another one will just take its place. And that's why I like it. And pretty much since the dawn of time, or just when it was built, VOO, or the S&P 500, has returned annually around 8 to 12% each year. Now, this is my second biggest investment in my entire portfolio. This is kind of meant to be a part of my financial foundation, but this is part of my, I don't really have to think about it, just shove in money and I'll have it for a rainy day or for retirement. One of the main reasons why I chose this one is just because it was the first thing I saw when I looked up how to invest. I watched a YouTube video on this Asian guy talking about Vanguard, ETFs, and I was like, screw it, let me just do it. But I'm glad that I did it because it does have, a low expense ratio. That's pretty much like the fees in order to invest into it. VOO has a 0.03 expense ratio, meaning, for every $10,000 you put in, you pay $3 a year in fees. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much why I invested into this one. Not really too much. Currently, right now, I'm only up around 26% or around $14,000. This used to be, a lot more, but the market has been going down a lot recently. This is filmed on March 29th. And if you're caught up with everything that's going on, we're literally in a war. There's like 5 wars going on. Everyone's running out of oil. The market's not doing too hot right now. So the portfolio used to look a lot better, but 26%, $14,000, I'm not mad at it. All right, the second ETF that I want to show you is QQQM. This is Invesco's NASDAQ 100 ETF. Basically, instead of, tracking the top 500 largest companies like VOO, like the S&P 500, this one just tracks the NASDAQ 100 index, which is a lot mainly tech and growth stocks like Nvidia, Microsoft, Broadcom, stuff like that. This is my third largest position. It's almost around 11%. And right now, it's not doing too hot. I'm only up 5% because it's relatively new. Like I started investing into QQQM a little bit around last year. And this is mainly because I just want a little more exposure to, growth technology sector. VOO does have a lot of it. So there's a lot of overlap between VOO and QQQM. Technically, you don't really need both of them if you want to invest in the same things. They have a lot of overlap. And right now with the market and how everything's doing, it's not doing too well. I'm only up 5% and I have around $60,000 in it. So that's just how it is. And honestly, guys, I'm not really worried because again, I'm investing for the long term. I think technology is going to dominate for the next, 10, 20, 30 years. If you just see everything that's happening, technology is driving innovation, and innovation in the markets make a lot of money. And that's why I started building it a lot into, my portfolio. The third ETF I want to show you is SCHD, which is Schwab's US Dividend Equity ETF. I don't really have too much of this. It's only 1% in portfolio, $6,000, but it is doing kind of well. It's doing better than QQQM. So maybe I should have invested more into it, but I'm up around 12% or $700. I honestly got it just because I thought about building a more, dividend focused portfolio because I want more, passive income. But honestly, I kind of just wanted to try it out. I don't really plan on investing more into it. Since I'm young, I don't really want to focus on dividends. It's not really that important to me, and it doesn't grow as much as I believe growth will. And if you don't know what a dividend is, it's basically just money that a stock will give you just for owning the stock. Like, it's a small percentage of whatever you own. And this ETF specifically is meant for dividends. This index is designed to measure the performance of just different high dividend yielding stocks issued by US companies. And if you look over here, I actually made a good amount off dividends, $100 off of $6,000, which is roughly 2%, is not that bad. A lot of people put all their money into, these dividend stocks, SCHD, so they can live off of that passive income. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to save the best and my biggest position for last. Next ETF, which is 0.86% of my entire portfolio, is COPX, which is the Global X Copper Miners ETF. Now, I'm a little embarrassed to show you, but it's okay. This channel is all about financial transparency. I was pretty much late to the copper hype train. I kind of just bandwagon and hopped on it as I saw all my friends talk about copper. They're like, oh, you missed gold, you missed silver, don't miss copper. I wasn't really on it fast enough. I kind of just was lazy about it and put in, $5,000, something that I just had around. I got to lay in the bed that I made and I'm down around 21%, which is around $1,300. Not the end of the world, but I didn't make any money from it. But it is what it is. No one's perfect. Again, I'm human. I make mistakes. I want to hop on the hype train sometimes, but this was not the best. Now, the reason why there's a lot of hype around copper is mainly just because silver and gold were kind of blowing up and then everyone was trying to look for the next best thing. And if you don't know anything about tech and AI, copper is actually used a lot in those type of technologies. And so for a little bit, it was running up a lot and it's actually up, almost 72% in the last year. So it has, done really well. But what's really cool about this is ETFs, it doesn't necessarily have to follow, a specific index or different companies. It could follow commodities like gold and silver, or maybe the energy sector specifically. And that's why I love, ETFs so much, is because you're not necessarily, just picking individual stocks. You're not trying to find a needle in the haystack. You're just picking the haystack, which, to me is a lot less stressful. And I think it's a lot more profitable. Trust me, guys, I did individual stocks, mainly, and I was super stressful. My life sucked. So that's why I love ETFs so much. And the next ETF is VTI, which is Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund ETF. And this is pretty much, as the name suggests, the entire stock market. And so when you invest into VTI, you're spending your money across, everywhere. You're super well diversified and you're kind of betting on the US economy, which is, for the past, couple tens of years, hopefully in the future, has been generally doing really well. The market is a forward thinking mechanism. So even though there's wars, even though there's pandemics, even though there's crazy things that happen, overall the markets rise in due time. And VTI, funny enough, is actually the second thing that I invested in after VOO. When I first started investing, I didn't necessarily understand exactly what it was, because if I realized it more, I would have just not done VTI, just because VOO, VTI, they have super similar performances. You don't technically need both, and that's why I only have $3,000 in it, or 0.52% of my portfolio in it. But if you look at that percentage return, 73%, $1,200, that's not bad. 73%, I'm okay with that. And that's kind of why I still have it in there. I don't necessarily need to sell it. I could kind of sell it and just move that money somewhere else, but it's only $3,000. It's only 0.5% of my portfolio. So I'm not really worried about it. I kind of just have it chilling. And the next ETF that I want to show you is a new position that I'm starting in, and it's VXUS. Now, this is Vanguard's Total International Stock Index ETF. And pretty much this covers emerging, developing markets, international, other than the US stock market. And the reason why I'm investing into this is because I'm pretty much invested only into the US stocks. And so that's not very diversified. And if you kind of kept up with any of the news with the wars and everything like that, even though again, I am bullish, I don't really want to have all my eggs in the US because sometimes the US markets doesn't do too hot. I mean, just look at last year. International stock market did pretty well while the US kind of lagged around. It's not only important to diversify which stocks you own, but also where the stocks are located. And so that's what I'm doing with VXUS. This is giving me exposure to international stocks. Hopefully I can get it to a good percentage of my portfolio. Eventually I want VXUS to be part of my financial foundation, but right now we're kind of just starting off. And you see currently right now I am down around 5%, which is not the end of the world. I am down, but again, I plan on holding this for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So it doesn't really matter. I'm not really trying to time anything. I'm just going to slowly put more money in every single month. If it's down, if it's up, it doesn't matter. I just want my money to be in there. And the last one I want to show you is my biggest position. It is around 43% of my entire portfolio, and I've been investing into this since day one, and it is VTSAX. Now, technically, this isn't an ETF. This is a mutual fund version of VTI, which is an ETF, and this is Vanguard's total stock market index fund, Admiral shares. Now, the reason why I chose to invest into this one is kind of a funny story. When I first started investing, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I understood a few concepts. One, don't try to invest into individual stocks. Just choose an ETF or index funds that automatically spread your money around. And two, don't try to time the market. Just dollar cost average and put money in every single month and try to automate it. And so that's what I wanted to do. And back then, you weren't able to really automate your investments as easily as it is now. But when I first started, you had to buy, or at least to my knowledge, you had to buy a mutual fund in order to automate your investments, at least with Vanguard. So that's why I chose VTSAX. It's pretty much just the mutual fund version of VTI, which is, again, the total stock market. It's everything. And at the time, this was the best option to really automate your investments, because if I wanted to do VTI, I think I needed to automate just deposit. So money would come from my bank account into, the brokerage. And then from the brokerage, I had to manually invest into VTI. Now that's not super automated for real. With VTSAX, with the automation, it would just automatically take money from my bank account into VTSAX without me not doing anything. And so I had this automation up running for years, pretty much my entire investing career. And as you see over here, it's 43% of my entire portfolio. I'm up around 33% or around $64,000. Again, this used to be a lot more a couple weeks ago, but the war has been going crazy. This is pretty much like a big part of my financial foundation. This is something that I've always had when I first started investing, and I will probably never stop that automation. And as you see here, all the ETFs, I just want to admit, yes, it's not optimal. I have VTSAX, VTI, VOO, QQQM. They overlap a lot. Right? So it's not it's not the most optimal one, but that's okay. I had this automation running up forever. It's kind of like a sentimental thing at this point. I'm never going to touch that automatic investments. I'm going to have it until I die. And I'm not saying that this is, the best portfolio, but this is just, what I have. Don't think about it too much. You can always sell. You can always change it later on. What matters is that you're just putting your money to work in the stock market. As you see, the majority of my portfolio is index funds and ETFs. The rest are individual stocks. I promised myself once I hit 6 figures, index funds and ETFs, that I would kind of put more effort into individual stocks. Now, I do have to admit, it has been a lot of fun trying to do this research and trying to pick in individual stocks. And I have made a good amount of money, but it's a lot more stressful. And as you see, kind of like in this past few weeks, individual stocks have been getting cooked. A lot of the stocks that I've been owning has been just like getting demolished recently because I have a lot of tech stocks. Now, quick sidebar before we get into the copied section. Here's what I personally would not build my portfolio around. I wouldn't have individual stocks as the core of my portfolio. And that's because picking stocks require you to be right, not just once, but twice. When you buy and then when you sell. The data literally shows that most investors underperform a simple index fund over, a 10-year horizon. So that's kind of why the main part of my portfolio is just index funds and ETFs. I don't really try to pretend that I can beat the market. And number two, I want to try to time the market based on news or current events, or pick individual stocks based off of, maybe new innovations or anything like that. When I invest into something, I want to think that I can hold this for, 10 to 20 years, if not forever. And I want to invest in something where I don't have to really think about, trying to time the market. I just want to invest in something where I can just dollar cost average it and always put money in. And lastly, using crypto as your foundation for your wealth building strategies. I know we didn't talk too much about crypto, and I'm not anti-crypto. I do have a good amount in my portfolio. I just don't want it to be, the majority portfolio. I really want to stress that huge percentage of your entire, investment of your net worth should be index funds and ETFs. Assets with decades of documented compounding history that you don't need to stress too much about. You just know that that money is working hard for you. And honestly, the best investment decision and returns came from investments where I didn't really have to do too much. And I always like to say, keep it simple, stupid. And also, if you want even more guidance, I do have a 5 steps to investing roadmap that will walk you through building a portfolio through scratch if you're just beginning. It's completely free and perfect for beginners. So if you want to start investing, I'll put the link in the description down below. Now, let's talk about how you could start with however much that you have right now. Not tomorrow, right now. If you have $100, the goal right now is not to build the perfect portfolio. It's really just to become a person who invests. So it doesn't really matter what you choose to invest, if it's an ETF or whatever. I just want you to start getting used to looking at your portfolio or looking at the investing app and putting money in and investing into something. At this stage, the habit is all that matters. The $100 is not going to change your life. All I want you to do is just get into the habit of investing. Because once you do something for the first time, it just becomes a lot less scary. So right now, put your money into whatever and then just watch it go. You can always optimize and sell later on. Now, if you have $1,000, this is where we can actually kind of play around with it. Now, me personally, I'd either do two things. One, just dump everything into VOO just to keep it simple. Or two, split that $1,000 into 3 different sections. 40% into VOO, 30% into QQQM, and the remaining 30% into any individual stocks that you truly believe in. Now, again, $1,000 again isn't life-changing. I just want you to get into the habit and build the foundation. You're bound to make mistakes. If anything, I want you to make mistakes at this early stage just so you learn it now rather than later. Now, if you have $10,000, honestly, the strategy would be pretty much the same, but I would highly suggest that you put this into a Roth IRA rather than a regular taxable brokerage account. Now, a Roth IRA, I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but a Roth IRA is a tax advantage retirement account. Basically, any gains that you make into this account, let's say you invest $1,000 and you get a 70% return, right? And you make $700. 100% of those gains is tax-free. It's 100% yours. The IRS can't touch it. And so that's why if you have $10,000, make sure the majority of that up to the max, which is I think $7,000, is in a Roth IRA and you use that to invest instead. The order of investing and which account they use really matters. The Roth IRA is always first if you have earned income. Contribution limit in 2026 is around $7,000 and everything in the Roth IRA is tax-free. So basically you invest post-tax dollars, money that you already worked for and pay taxes on. You invest that money into the stock market and then when you retire, all of those gains is tax-free. And so once your Roth is maxed, all the overflow goes into a taxable brokerage account where you can run the same allocation. The investment itself is pretty much identical. It's just in different accounts. And again, the reason why I love index funds and ETFs is because it's way easier to automate. You don't have to do any research or do any time. You can just automate investments. And I highly suggest that you do that with anything you're investing. It is one of the best decisions that I ever made starting investing is just to automate it. Because one, it takes out all the mental labor. And two, it really forces myself to prioritize investing, because whether I like it or not, money is going out of my account into stock markets, or even if I have the money to do it. So please do it. It honestly is really worth it. Now, the mentor that I wish I had at 18 would have shown me his portfolio and just said, just start here. Not because this is the perfect portfolio, the most optimal, but because it's a real one that is working. And starting with something real, maybe not perfect, beats waiting for the perfect strategy every single time. All that matters is that you just start. So I hope you can start your journey and learn from my mistakes and see my financial transparency and hopefully see investing as a little less scary. And I get the stress. We all want to be rich. We all want to be successful. But in order to do so, you need to learn how to not obsess about money. I'll talk more about that in this next video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Till next time.